looking at current events, all the things that are happening, the war in Israel, all of the different things that are occurring throughout the world, and then looking at what is being said in the YouTube situation with urgent message this and prophets that. I wanted to just take a moment or two to ask a question. Are we being deceived? Are we being distracted? I think that so many things are occurring, and things that are being said from the prophets in YouTube and all the things that are going on are an indication that much of what Jesus said to us in Matthew 24 and Mark 13, I think, and in Luke 21 is actually coming to pass, and we're not even aware that it's happening. The unique thing about the Bible is it will explain itself if there's something that has to be heard or has to be understood. It's just that most of us don't want to take the time to search it out. 2 Timothy 2:15 says, "Study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman who needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth." But that's not the way we pretty much handle our Christian walk. Often we assign our proxy to the pastor and leave it up to him to lead us or to guide us, and that's really not what the word says. But I was thinking about what Jesus said. He said in Mark 13:5-7, it says, "And Jesus answering them began to say, Take heed lest any man deceive you. For many will come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And when you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, be not troubled. For such things must come to pass, but the end shall not be yet." I think our thought is that as we look at the things that are unfolding before us right now, that the end is near, but yet Jesus said it wasn't. In Luke 21, verse 7-9, he says, "And they asked him, saying, Master, but when shall these things be? And what sign will there be when these things shall come to pass? And he said, Take heed that ye be not deceived, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ. And the time draws near. Go ye not therefore after them." So he warns us not to listen to what is happening when there are wars and rumors of wars coming from, quote unquote, the prophets, or coming from the pulpits. That many of the things that are happening because they have to unfold, but it's not a sign of the end or that Jesus' return is imminent. It said one of the things about the children of Issachar in the Old Testament was they had an understanding of the times. We, as a people in the body of Christ, have already determined what those times are, rather than understanding them for what God intends them to be understood by. We've determined that this is going to happen or that's going to happen, and so we got to hurry up and do this, or we got to hurry up and say that. So the result is that it's real easy for the spirit realm to be disturbed. And it's real easy for everyone to lean on their own understanding, and especially with the prophets and many of the teachers, to think that we're someplace that we're really not in the body of Christ. One of the things that the Bible does say, and I take absolutely seriously, is this: that the Lord will reveal to his people what is happening through those who are mouthpieces for him, and that it will not be determined by the understanding of man, but it will be determined by what God chooses to have come forth and when he chooses to reveal it. And, when I look at what it says in Psalm 102:16, that pretty much settles that we're not as close to the end as we think we are and the Lord's return. It says, when the Lord shall build up Zion, he shall appear in his glory. So the Lord is not going to appear in his glory until he has built up Zion. And Jesus told us about the disciples. He said that they will know that you are mine by your love for one another. And if we take a good hard look at the church and any denominations that are currently active at this time, the dissension and the division is abundant. And Jesus said, they'll know that you are my disciple by your love for one another. My counsel to anyone who is listening would be, hold fast, keep that which you have that is from the Lord, and press in with everything else in order to find out what his decision or his desire for you is at this time. He is not on the horizon to come unless something major happens, and it's not going to be, unfortunately, a rapture of the church. Proof of what I'm saying is just look at all that has been said in the name of the Lord. Every one of them says an urgent message from the Lord, and they speak something that happened when Trump was going through his situation, and it's happening again now. Many of them are saying things that will not and are not coming to pass. Many of them are scare tactics and things that are being said in order to cause you to believe this or to believe that. And the Lord is a much greater instructor and teacher of his children than to try and scare them into submission. We have many things that are happening in the body of Christ that are never even spoken of that God is doing in miraculous ways. And so don't get anxious about what you're hearing from the prophets. As a matter of fact, a good rule of thumb would be not to listen to them, because most of them are not speaking. They're speaking in the name of the Lord, but the Lord is not behind what they're saying.